Hey everybody, hope you're all having a good weekend. Welcome to episode 195 of NoDQ&A video, almost at 200. Thanks as always for watching. I'm here to answer your questions about WWE and TNA, so let's not waste any more time. Let's get right down to it. This is from Tommy C21. In video 194, you talked about WWE not denying their fans. Well, if that's the case, what about Zack Ryder, Alex Riley, Tyson Kidd, Drew McIntyre, and Kurt Hawkins? Please answer in video. For those of you that missed it, I talked about Jeff Hardy and how WWE wasn't pushing him to the top, and he was doing jobs to Triple H, and it got to the point where eventually WWE had to push him because the audience was just so much behind him, and WWE needed to ride the momentum. So the question here is, why doesn't WWE do the same for guys like Zack Ryder and so on? The thing about Jeff Hardy is that he broke into WWE during the Attitude Era, and it was a different period. During that time, WWE had the competition with WCW and even ECW to a degree, and WWE was really desperate to push new talent. They had so many superstars that were jumping ship to WCW, and guys had more of an opportunity back then. So somebody like Jeff Hardy could break in and reach the top, and he had that track record with WWE in terms of drawing power and selling merchandise and just being marketable. So Jeff Hardy had that experience, and that helped him along the way in WWE. And despite the fact that he had the wellness violations, WWE knew that that he was very marketable. And with these other guys like Zack Ryder and Alex Riley and so on, they don't really have that track record. They're still working their way up. But unfortunately, in today's WWE, it's different, and there's just a limited number of spots, and there's so many guys trying to get those spots. So that's just the unfortunate reality in today's WWE. Hey Aaron, the interview with Jerry Lawler was great. It almost brought me to tears. Would you interpret his answer as the WWE allowing him to come back, or do you think they told him he should retire and they will phase him out? Please answer in video. I think that when the time comes that Jerry Lawler is ready to come back as an announcer, I think WWE will bring him back in that regard. As far as him wrestling again, I'm not so sure WWE will want to take that chance with him. It's just something I don't think they're going to want to risk. But we're just going to have to wait and see what happens with Jerry Lawler. I mean, he definitely needs some time off, and he's going to need at least a couple months to recover. And who knows what kind of shape he'll be in. But if he's healthy, I think that we'll definitely see him on TV at some point. Hey Aaron, do you think Chris Jericho will go to TNA sometime in the future? He said he would like to work with a lot of the roster, like AJ Styles and Bully Ray and so on. I think he was considering it before returning to WWE. Your thoughts? I would be very surprised to see Chris Jericho in TNA. Chris Jericho is a guy who doesn't need to be in wrestling, period. He doesn't need to be in WWE. He doesn't need to be in TNA. He's made his money. He's made his name in WWE as a wrestler for all these years. And he's doing his band. He's got Fozzy. He's got other things he can do besides wrestling. And I think if he was to keep wrestling, he would want to do it on the big stage. And I think he has that loyalty to WWE because they made him what he is today. And there's just no reason for him to jump ship to TNA and burn that bridge with WWE. And I think he's happy just coming back to WWE on a part-time basis and being able to help some of the younger talent like Dolph Ziggler. I think that's what he enjoys doing, and I think he'll continue to do that in the future. I just don't see him going to TNA. How long do you think we're going to have to wait until we see Mick Foley in the Hall of Fame? Please answer on video. Hopefully not long. I mean, we have WrestleMania coming up in New York, New Jersey, and that would really be the perfect place to induct Mick Foley into the Hall of Fame. I'm actually expecting Foley to be the top Hall of Fame inductee this year, just because of his name value. And I mean, if they could get Bruno, I could see Bruno Sammartino being the top guy in the Hall of Fame, but that's almost 100% chance not going to happen. So Mick Foley is your next best bet to have him headline the Hall of Fame, and the ceremony's in Madison Square Garden, so that's perfect. You can show the clips of him in the crowd when Jimmy Snuka fought Don Morocco in the steel cage match, and show all the clips of Mick Foley in the Garden. That seems like the perfect place to induct him. If not WrestleMania 29, then WrestleMania 30. That might end up being in the New York market too, at Madison Square Garden. So 29 or 30, I would expect Foley going into the Hall of Fame. I just think it's inevitable. Hey Aaron, regarding the recent Aces and Eights bit on Impact, am I the only one that noticed that Eric Bischoff was the person doing the voice as the mystery leader? I've gotten a lot of comments about that, and watching the video clip, it's pretty obvious by the way he talks that it's Eric Bischoff as the voice of the Aces and Eights guy. Now, does that mean that Eric Bischoff is going to be revealed as the guy behind it? It could be Eric Bischoff, but it could also be somebody else. It could just be Bischoff doing the voiceovers. I remember years back when they were doing the whole stalker storyline with Undertaker. Undertaker's wife was being stalked. They had the distorted voice, and it was just Vince McMahon doing the voice. And obviously it wasn't Vince McMahon that was a stalker. It was DDP. So it could just be that situation, or it could very well be Eric Bischoff. I still see Jeff Jarrett being the most likely person behind it, but it would also make sense for it to be Bischoff, since Bischoff's been gone, and this storyline could be his way of getting back in, whatever. So, yeah, Jeff Jarrett or Eric Bischoff seem like the most likely candidates to be the one behind Aces and Eights, but we'll see. With rumors of WWE grooming a new top guy, who do you think would be the best option? In my opinion, it should be Seth Rollins, a.k.a. Tyler Black. It's hard to say because you just don't know who the next top guy is going to be. I mean, people knew that Steve Austin was going to be a huge star when he was stunning Steve Austin. People just saw it. He had it. But you just didn't know how big he was going to be. And you really don't know. I mean, when The Rock came in, people knew he was going to be a big deal, but they just didn't know how big. So you really don't know. And Tyler Black, he has a lot of potential. He's got a good look, and he could very well have the same kind of success that someone like CM Punk has had. But will he be like a John Cena level top guy? It's really hard to say. I don't know if he would be the right guy in my mind, but you never know. And you really got to give the guy a chance and let him go out there and turn the volume up and do his thing and see what happens. It's really all you can do. What do you think is the reason WWE is PG? Is it Linda's Senate run, or is the company looking for a younger viewership? Well, first of all, it's a different wrestling industry than it was 15 years ago. During the Monday Night Wars and the Attitude Era, WWE had to push the envelope. They really had no other choice. They were backed up against the wall. They had to do something to compete with WCW because WCW was signing all their talent, you know, Kevin Nash, Scott Hall, Hulk Hogan, Randy Savage, all these guys were going to WCW. So how could WWE compete with WCW? Really, the only way they could compete was to become an edgier product, because it was something that WCW couldn't do as much because they had to answer to Turner executives. You know, they were under the Turner umbrella, so they had to abide by certain standards and practices. But with WWE, they had more creative freedom to push the envelope and do stuff that would be controversial. And that helped them in the ratings. That definitely, stuff like Brian Pillman pulling the gun on Steve Austin, that's the kind of stuff that WWE started doing to try to get viewers back from WCW. So once WCW closed, WWE kept doing stuff like that. You know, they had the Katie Vick thing. They were still pushing the envelope, but really they got to look to please their sponsors. I mean, WWE is a business after all, and by going PG and toning down the product a little bit, they're able to keep their advertisers satisfied, and they're able to work with other companies like Mattel and stuff like that. And I'm sure Linda's Senate run is definitely a factor, but it's not the number one factor. It's definitely just the idea of trying to keep your sponsors happy and just trying to make more money. By being PG, you're making more money in that regard. So that's really all there is to it. Alright, that'll wrap it up for this edition of No DQ&A video. Thanks as always for watching. Subscribe, youtube.com/NoDQCAW. Stay tuned to NoDQ.com for the very latest in WWE and TNA. And I'll see you next week for more No DQ&A video.